Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson here on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the kind of products that I like to sell on Amazon. What are the characteristics of those markets and those products that makes me click and go, okay, that's something that I'm going to sell. So if that's something you've been struggling with or you don't really know how to do, this video will definitely be helpful to you. That sounds like something you'd enjoy watching. Be sure to stick around to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe if you happen to be new, but without further ado, let's jump right into it. So we're gonna move over into my computer here. And as always, I was just doing some product research and I figured I would show you the beginning steps along with where I'm ending up, and once I find that product idea, how I'm analyzing it and what things I'm looking at. So before we get started on what I do want to sell, I wanted to touch base on a couple points that I wanted to add to yesterday's video. If you haven't seen it, it'll be linked down below. It's the first part of this where we talk about the things we don't want to sell. Definitely will be helpful for you. So I wanted to add that we don't necessarily want to sell products that are easy to break. So something fragile like glass or mirrors. If you are, make sure that your packaging is on point. Order a sample with the packaging that same packaging the customer is going to have. Drop it, do the kick test, throw it across the room a little bit. See if it can hold up to that, because I've worked in an Amazon factory when I was a teenager and it happens. Okay, people throw things on conveyor belts, bigger boxes will fall in littler boxes. That kind of stuff happens. So make sure your product can support that if you're going to sell a product similar to that. If it's your very first product or your second product, I might just say avoid it altogether, because there's so many products that aren't like that you can sell. Now, in addition to that, I wanted to also bring up the point that I don't necessarily like to sell things that require assembly. So things that are products that need complex instructions, or products that might have a lot of user error, like electronics. Things like that, where it's not as simple as take it out of the box, put it on your desk, or take it out of the box and it's ready to go. It requires some screws, some instruction manuals, using a power tool or something. I don't really like to sell those kind of products, because we might get bad reviews because of a customer doesn't know how to put it together, or they might tell everyone else that the instructions don't work well. It's something that's more of a liability for your brand, and I like to stay away from those as well. Now, of course, you want to stay away from restricted products. That's kind of common sense. I didn't bring that up because yesterday we were talking more about the actual characteristics of the market and how the competitors look and all that. That's what I was really referring to. But without further ado, let's actually get into what we do want to see in a product. So I've just come in here and I've set up Blackbox to do some research. I'm going to try my best to find a product here for you today. That is good, but if we don't find anything, at least by the end of this video, you will know how to identify the kind of products that are good, and you'll know if you should sell them or not. So the categories I've selected are arts, crafts, and sewing, home and kitchen, kitchen and dining, office products, patio, lawn and garden tools, and home improvement. You can select whatever you'd like. One of the characteristics of a best-selling product, characteristics of a product that I would like to sell on Amazon is it has a revenue of about $4,000 to $10,000. That's because I understand my cash flow and my budget, and I truly, for products that sell more than that and require much more capital, I don't actually want to have to support that amount of inventory just yet. I want to have more products that are selling in this range, and I could keep duplicating those that are kind of easier to keep in stock, and that's just something to be aware of, and that's something worth noting. The price I have it about $18 to $50. That's totally up to you. You can sell in any price range as long as your profit margins make sense. Everyone says don't sell anything below $15. It's like, why not, right? If something's $12 and the profit margins make sense and you're making 40-50% profit, then go ahead and sell that. It is harder, and that's why people say it, because there's going to be more of that price is going to be fees usually. But yeah, you look wherever you want to look, and if it makes sense at the end of the day, then that's totally fine to go with. There's no reason that you have to stay in a certain price range. And then review count, I want to go probably 20 and then 190 as a max. I'm okay with going even higher than 190, but usually I'll just do this and I'll sort by low to high. The reason I'll usually set a minimum is because if you go low to high review when you're sorting down here, and you don't have a minimum, it'll show you all zeros, and those usually aren't reliable data points or products because they don't even have their first review yet. They're just getting their initial sales. We want to look for products that have been selling for about 3 to 6 months, so we have some data to look at. And then down here, I've done sales to reviews, about 25. So the sales velocity or the review velocity is something that I can keep up with. That's 4 reviews for every 100 sales. That's actually pretty much about average. And then monthly sales, we've gone with about 180 units to 560 units. Now we've hit search for this, and then I've sorted by reviews, and now we're gonna get looking through here. So we have a Mountain Life, Table Runner, generally things like table runners, or like art or curtains, or like fabric with designs on them. I generally like to stay away from because it's pretty subjective. Like people might not like that design, they might love another one. I generally like products that have a utility for the most part, like you put them somewhere or you do something with that product. That's just my point of view. I don't really like selling like artsy stuff. If it's art supplies, that's fine, but things that are literally have designs that people might be picky about, I tend to stay away from. This is definitely going to be seasonal. A flower lace, yeah, same thing. People might not like it, people might love it. Let's see, Lego, can't do that. Tall paper candles. Okay, they're just candles. I don't think I'm gonna be able to compete in that market. Foldable laptop, tail desk. I think there's tons of those, honestly, even if this one's doing okay. I know there's so many of those kind of products, I'm not gonna stay away from it. A rug. Okay, this is actually interesting. So this catches my eye because this is a product that I think we could probably customize it quite well. And that's something I actually wanted to talk to you about, is how to customize products. And that's something we're going to be touching on right now. That's a characteristic of products that I want to sell. So look at this. So we have this listing here. They only have 19 reviews. And according to Helium 10, they were making about $4,000 per month. We could verify that right here with the extension. We'll take a quick look at the revenue, just make sure it's the same. And yeah, it looks like we have about 4,000 for the gray and then about 6,000 for the white. So that's important data actually to think about. That one's bigger, this one's smaller, this one's gray, that one's white. So in looking at this, we have this 19 reviews for this gray version that's smaller. We would want to go look at their sales history. I use a graph called Keepa. It shows you review velocity, it shows you sales rank. You'd want to see that they've been consistently selling this product. Before you get caught up in any one product though, go take a look at what the whole market looks like. Don't forget to take your broadest search term and go look at the whole market. So I think this is like cement, maybe Half Moon Planter. Yeah, that's definitely the right search term. We'll go all departments, we'll search Half Moon Planter. Okay, let's see. One of the first things that I like to do and like to analyze as part of a product that I would like to sell, is something that, products that I like to sell have this in common. I want to see that there's not a ton of competitors to sell against. So that's a characteristic of the market, not of the product itself. And in this case, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised. These are very irrelevant results that are popping up here. They're very unlike what we saw. And to me, that's actually a good thing. So when I'm looking, the main competitors are, it looks like that's actually an outdoor one. So even though it's the same shape, I wouldn't count that. I technically wouldn't count this. That's really not the same thing. It's almost just this hanging version with 3. And then that. I mean, I don't really see anything else that would resemble the same thing. And then we have this one. So this one sells about $1,100 per month. This one sells about $4,700 per month. And the other variation of it was selling, I think, $6,000, right? And then this one sells, wow, so again, $6,000 with this white variation that's hanging. Is a little bit different. So let's get into, I think this is a perfect example. Let's get into the characteristics of this product that I look for to tell if it is a good product / market to get into. So one of the first things that you just saw me do was I looked for how many relevant results there were. The least, amount of relevant results there are, the better. But in some cases, if there's only one seller selling it successfully, that's also not really a good thing. You want kind of a happy medium. 4 or 5 examples to look at is great, but don't be too picky. If there's 40 sellers in a market, that's still not too bad, right? There's 60 listings on page 1, depending how it's sorted when you're looking at it. And most of the time, if there's not even enough results to fill up the first page and it's dwindling by the second or third pages, that's a pretty good amount of competitors to have to compete with. And I'll tell you why, because it makes it easier for you to stand out, right? If there's 150 competitors, It's going to be that much harder for you to stand out because there's already 150 who've done this before you. Right? So when you come in and there's 5, or in our case 4 main competitors, the 5th option is going to be seen almost just as much as all of those. There's all this real estate available for relevant listings to come pop into. Does that make sense? So we might not be using the perfect search term here, and even if there's not that much search volume for this, we're still seeing all of the relevant products, because anything that is shaped like this that's a planter probably would be ranking for that search term. So in this case, I think it's okay to use this search term, and if this doesn't sell under any one given search term, don't worry about that either. I would say it's okay if the product has good sales rank, it sells consistently throughout the year, and you have proof of concept of a couple different sellers all doing it successfully. That's good for you. Now let's go on to the next characteristic of a market that I would like to sell a product in. That's the age of these sellers. So I like to see in products that I would sell on Amazon, competitors that are maybe 90 days to maybe 6 months old that are selling successfully. What that shows me is that these are sellers that have come in recently within this year and are now successfully selling 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units per day of this product. So we can track their product progress and see what it was that they did differently and why they're getting those sales. So let's go into this one. This is the other one that we haven't clicked on yet. This is the white variation, and it's quite a good differentiation. They have this kind of hanging version that has 3 on top of each other, right? They have good photography from what I can see. I'm a fan of that photography. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good as far as photography goes. It's really high quality. It looks great. And then about this item, they have really good bullet points from what I can see, just glancing at them. Let's go take a look at our Keep It graph. Let's go look all time. Okay, so they've been selling for 125 days, 4 months, and almost 4 months exactly. So they started May 21st. That's when they went in stock. And it looks like immediately when they went in stock, we see this green line going down. That's their sales rank going down closer to 1 the more sales they're making. That's really good. It looks like they actually went out of stock for about a month here. And then when they did come back in stock, I know that because the green line is going up that whole time and their price broke, which means that there was an unavailability on their listing. Comes back in stock, they easily re-ranked within about 2 weeks, it looks like. They just came right back down to where they kind of were before. And then they've been there ever since. They've been really consistently selling this product. So that's awesome. There's plenty of data here to look at. This is a great happy medium of enough data, but not so much sales history that you've acquired tons and tons of reviews. So in looking at this product, I've seen that they've have the same shape as the one that we saw over there. They have white. They have this differentiation in that it's hanging. So now let's move on to the last characteristic of a product market that I would like to sell in. Well, is there the ability for me to add a unique new product that's going to stand out with just a main image? Keep that whole phrase in mind. Unique ability for my product to stand out with just my main image. Because if you can't stand out with, or maybe not just your main image, but all images, if you can't stand out noticeably and people can't tell the difference with just your images, people aren't really going to know that yours is all that different. If they have to buy it to know your differentiation, that's not going to get you sales. It might help you in the long run with reviews and stuff, but we have to get them actually into the cart and checking out. So when I'm looking at this, something that just kind of instantly hits me, because I do this all the time with markets like this, or at least I think of things all the time with markets like this, and I did this with my macrame shelf. I'm looking at the characteristic of the best seller here. They're not actually the best seller. They're actually doing less sales than this one, but that's the one we found. So when we look at this one, they have this very specific wall-mounted design, right? I think both this and their white one had this design. They're both doing well, with just 19 reviews here for this variation. And that's actually 3.8 stars, so that gives us some things to look at. And it's not super biased. It's all over the board. People are giving it from 1 up to 5. It's not just some people love it and some people hate it. It's like pretty split here, right? If they go down any more, they're going to have 3.5 stars, which is going to definitely hurt their rating and their sales. So we could look into what's going wrong there. But even more than that, just visually, what I think we could do is, what if we took this version and made it gray into that kind of cement style, like this, or we made this version black and put it on the market. Nothing like that exists. Or what if we took these and we made them black, or we made them I I guess the white is already done. So yeah, I'm more focused on this design here with the hanging one, changing these pot colors to another color. That could be a very big reason for customers to buy yours. They like this one, but maybe they don't want the white pots, maybe they want the cement pots. So we offer maybe a cement, a white, and a black variation. So now hopefully by the end of this video, you've seen that what we're looking for in a market is that there's not a ton of high quality competitors to compete against. There's the ability for us to look at sellers that have existed for about 3 months to 6 months at least and see how their sales data looks. And then we want to sell products that we have the ability to add some kind of unique characteristic to our product that the customer, if they want that, have to come to us and purchase from us. As far as actually just the market end of things and the branding end of things, this is how I would, kind of use my brain to analyze what I'm looking for in a product that I'm interested in selling. So that's gonna do it for today's video. Be sure to leave a thumbs up down below if you liked it and a thumbs down if you didn't. I'll be seeing you on the channel here tomorrow for another one, so I hope to see you there. Thanks so much. Later.